All right, what's up, mother truckers? BP Hero at you here, and what we got is the best of 2021 USA ASA list. And I'm going to tell you now, this list isn't going to be very eventful. Regretfully, I did not swing a ton of ASA, USA. We're going to call it ASA for the video. That's what everybody knows it as. I'm just going to clear that up now. I hate saying USA. It just feels weird. So, I admittedly didn't swing a ton of ASA stuff this year, but you guys are going to want rankings out of what we did swing, so I figured I would do this video. We're going to do it different. We're going to do it tier list style. It's not really going to make much sense now, but once we get into the U-Trip video where we've got a broad spectrum of bats and did a lot more stuff, it'll make more sense. But for the ASA, we're still going to stick to this as well, so let's get to the action. All right, so as you can see on the list here, we've got a few different options here for bats. We have Gotta Have It in the Bag. That's that bat that like you got to take to the ballpark with you if you're playing ASA for the day. Then Does It Get Any Better is going to be kind of like the second category of that. Like this bat can't really get much better, and it wouldn't kill you to have it in the bag, but it may not be everybody's choice. And then we have Try It Before You Buy It, which is what it sounds like. You may love it, you may hate it, so give it a shot before you try it. Then we've got Didn't Like It. Like, obviously, goes without saying. This is probably something I'm not going to suggest to anybody. And we have Just Don't Do It. And I'm going to be honest with you, Just Don't Do It is here because I needed 5 options. All right, and just to clarify real quick before we get started, I'm basically just going to go without saying. Anything up here at the top is going to be number 1, and then we'll work our way, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Just to clarify, making everything as clear as I can here. The tier list is a little bit different, but I'm really going to enjoy it once we get to doing more bat reviews, and maybe this is something that I could update as we go. Do it month by month for next year, so we're not left waiting till the end of the year. I can add the bat to the list as we go. Let me know what you guys think of that in the comments down below if you are regulars to the channel. All right, so we're just going to work left to right here, and the first one we're going to do is the Anarchy 22 a day. The performance of this thing was really good. Probably my only complaint with it is they tend to swing light this year. The year before was an incredible bat, and it checked all the boxes. The inload was big, yes, but this one this year, it swung really, really light. The performance was great. We hit a lot of home runs with it, but it was so light that we couldn't really do much else with it. And yes, I know we reviewed a 26. We prefer 27s, but even that considered, the weighting just didn't feel 100% right to me like it did for last year. So I'm going to put that in the Doesn't Get Any Better. Wouldn't kill you to have it in the bag, but it's not my first choice. So up next is the Monsta Banger USA, which is essentially a torch, right? So we're going to put that one. You got to have it in the bag. So I finally gave in and started doing a few Monster reviews here. And I started off the year kind of looking for the performance that everybody's like, wow, this thing is great. This is an awesome bat. Make 1,000 of these and nothing else. I want all of them in my bag. And I just hadn't found it. But once I swung this, it just clicked. I'm not a 25-ounce guy. I'm not a mid-loaded guy. But I can tell you right now, I could pick up this bat and do just about anything I wanted to with it just because the performance was good. And the weighting did work for me enough to let me be effective with it. You could hit for distance. You could still control it. All things considered, I did really enjoy this bat. Okay, so next on the list is the Monsta Bombardier, whatever that one bat is. People tell me to say it all kinds of different ways. I'm going to say it Bombardier because that seemed to be the most popular thing to say. And I will say that this is the first one I tried as far as like the Monsta stuff goes. And I was really, really looking forward to it. It was a one piece, which is something that I kind of prefer. It was a 27 ounce. It had a big inload to it, but it just didn't blow me away. The variation of temperatures with this bat really got weird for me. On a cooler day, it felt pretty blah, but the more hot and humid it was outside, it felt really good. And if you were hitting on the hot, humid, the air is so thick you could cut it with a knife kind of days all the time, this would be a good bat to have. But if you play anywhere where the temperature fluctuates or if it cools off at night, I honestly feel like it was a night and day different kind of bat. There's people that love them. There's people that don't like them. Brian loved it. This didn't drive me absolutely wild. So we're going to put it in the try before you buy category. All right, so what we have next is the Demarini Nihilist Dale Brungard edition. And I'm just going to tell you right now, this thing, as far as the inload goes, isn't for the faint of heart. But if you're an inload fan and you play ASA, this is one of those bats that you've got to have in the repertoire, especially if you're playing somewhere you can hit a lot of home runs, or you're like a home run hitter, or if you're that type of hitter that just doesn't care where it goes, you just want to hit it hard. If you're just looking for ultimate distance, exit speed, max performance, this is the bat. You might sacrifice a little bit in control, I'm not going to lie to you, but what you're going to get out of this thing is going to be worth it. We're going to put it in the gotta have it in the bag category. All right, so up next we have the Miken Freak 23, and this one was an interesting one. It started out pretty blah. Like the first, few rounds of BP we put on it, it was kind of like, is it going to do anything? Like, it's kind of like the meme where the kid's poking the animal with a stick saying, do something. Like, that's what I felt like with this thing. It just wouldn't perform no matter how hard you hit it. And then, like, the last 10 swings of our round, like, finishing up the entire day, it's just like someone just flipped a switch. The sound changed. The ball started jumping. I mean, honestly, it felt like the bat gained 20 feet of distance just in a matter of like 5 swings. So I told myself, all right, so this thing is starting to show signs of life, so I've got to get another round of BP in on it for a review, and I'm glad we did. You're just going to have to be patient with this one and give it some BP, give it a little bit of love, and let it warm up for you, and it's going to treat you well. Super smooth to swing. The short barrel is always good. Miken's done a great job of that. Their ASA tech is good. The inload was real nice. Felt just like a KP23 should. We're going to put this one in the doesn't get any better category, and the main reason behind that is just based on what else is on the list here and the fact that the sweet spot was a little bit small. It's still, the whole thing was decent, but overall the performance was good. So this is something that it was nice. Didn't absolutely blow me away, but it's something like I would consider putting in the bag if these others weren't here. All right, so up next, we have the Worth Mach 1 Balanced. If you kept up with the channel, if you kept up with the reviews, listen to the podcast, any of that stuff where I've been discussing this bat, you'll know that I'm going to put it right up here at number 1. I'm not even a balanced bat guy, and I've done this once before with a model of this a couple years prior. Man, it just felt so good. Everything about it was right. The balance was good. It would let you do anything you wanted to with it. Control-wise, line to line, it was super smooth to swing. The weight was spot on. And with a balanced bat, I was even able to hit for some distance with this thing. It was ridiculous from swing 1. The sound was great. The sweet spot was huge. I felt like I could have put the barrel in my hands and tried to hit a ball with the knob of the bat. It still found a way to get it off the sweet spot of this thing. You just cannot lose swinging this bat. So it has to go at number 1 for me. All right, so up next here is a doozy for me, and it is the Monsta Sinister. Back to the Bombardier thing, everybody's saying, try this, try that, and then I'm kind of like getting dialed in on what tech feels good to me, and I'm figuring out, okay, well, if I like this bat, then I need to try this next. I really enjoyed the Torch, so I grabbed one of these thinking like, man, I'm going to love this thing. It's going to be awesome. Performance was good, but the weighting was just, I can't even describe it. It was just one of the worst feeling bats I've swung in the last couple of years, weight-wise. Feel, feedback, that kind of thing was still pretty normal, and the performance was really good when you did hit a ball off the sweet spot. Brian had a hell of a round with this thing and at least made the bat look good for somebody, even though it didn't for me. This is going to be one of those bats that I feel like fits a very small niche. If anybody's looking at me saying, hey, I need a 25-ounce bat, don't really care if it's inloaded, balanced, whatever else, and it has to be a Monsta, I'm recommending the Torch. The Sinister just did not jive with me at all, so I am going to put this in the didn't like it category. All right, so last but not least, we have the Easton Z-WAP, part of the comic series. And the Ghost Tech over the years, when it first started out, man, it was a rough go. We all kind of laughed at how the bat sounded and lack of performance it had, but the Easton Ghost Tech has gotten pretty good over the last few years. This bat was nice. It wasn't great. It didn't blow me away. You could hit a ball off the screws and say, damn, that felt good. Or you could see the ball performing and say, hey, this thing ain't too bad, really. And it was definitely one of those bats where you either really like this thing or it's like, man, this thing feels terrible. It sounds awful. And I know I've said it before, sound and feel are a lot of what people correlate with performance. And if you can't deal with the sound, if you can't deal with the super stiff feel, you're going to hate this thing. But, even being able to look past that, this thing just didn't absolutely wow me. There's people that do like it. There's people that enjoy it. Even with the guys that we swung here, So I'm going to put it in the try it before you buy it category, just based on the fact that this is still a bat that someone could enjoy. It just, I don't feel like a lot of people are going to, about like a 50-50 mix, you know? So with that being said, here we are. Got the list done. Number 1, we got the Worth Mach 1 Balanced. Number 2 is the Monsta Torch. Number 3, the Dale Brungart Nihilist. Number 4 is the Anarchy 22 a day. Number 5, Miken Freak 23. Number 6 was the Monster Bombardier. Number 7 is the Easton Z-WAP. And coming in last is the Monsta Sinister. Again, based on just how terrible it felt waiting-wise. Woof. I want to reiterate that. It did perform, but I just can't recommend this thing to anybody just based on the weight. So that'll do it, guys. I hope you enjoyed the video. Thanks for stopping in and checking it out. U-Trip 1 will be up in a couple of days. Stay tuned. Be sure and go down below, hit that subscribe button so you know when that one comes out. Only if you turn your notifications on. Make sure you do that too. Swing hard in case you hit it. BP Hero. Catch you next time.